From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates across North America and digitally on TalkStream Live and Revolution Radio. If you want to take a listen to our archives, we have them free for you at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio for the show and my personal handle at Dave Scott SOR. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we got a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot, reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire, and much more. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. It's time to get a little crusty and cranky tonight as Butch Witkowski from UFO Cop is back. For the last couple decades, Butch and his team have been hauling around Pennsylvania and the surrounding areas and states for monsters of any shape and size. UFOs, bipedal canines lurking in the forest with Bigfoot, missing people, ghosts, you name it, Butch has gone looking for it. Don't let a little lockdown hold him back. The monsters are out there, and Butch and his team plan on finding them. Their website is ufocop.com. Then at the bottom of hour number 3, I will bring you the SOR Newswire, brought to you by Paranoia Magazine. Mr. Butch Witkowski, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing fine, sir. How are you?
I'm doing all right. You know, I'm a little sore today. One of the little things, you know, we all have these little crankiness pieces with our body where they just don't seem to treat us right. Well, I suffer from diverticulitis, and tinnitus as well. So tinnitus is the ringing in your ears that never stops, and diverticulitis is you have polyps on your colon. I mean, if we're going to be gross here, let's just get right into it. And so that's something that I have to watch. I have to watch how much water I take, how much beef I'm eating, how much spicy food. Well, let's just say Dave doesn't really pay attention to that. So my stomach has been saying to me the last couple of days, yeah, remember all those tacos you were eating and all that beef and steak and all the good stuff that you enjoy? Yeah, this is a payback. Payback, Dave, payback. So that's what I'm going through right now, Butch.
Well, taco sounds like a suicide attempt.
It sure does, but it is so good. So good. I love me a good taco, man. Love me a good taco. Butch, you've been doing this for 20 years plus.
30.
30 years plus. I got to ask you, have you ever seen the silliness of the UFO field as you have the last couple of years?
No, it's now, I guess I should stand corrected on that. There's a lot more than usual. The folks that are out there actually doing something and recording and documenting and researching and investigating are still there. But it just seems like it's gotten to the point where, you know, when I get a report, I scrutinize that thing like you wouldn't believe. You know, you look at these reports, and I attribute a lot of them lately to boredom, people being locked up, you know, not allowed to leave the house and stuff like that, and they're looking for some excitement or something to go on. And I mean, I'm getting reports that are 20 years old, 18 years old, 15 years old. What the hell am I going to do with those? Now there have been some really good ones lately. There's a gentleman in California sent me a series of pictures he took while traveling, and he actually pulled off the side of the road, which most people don't do when they take a picture. And he took a picture of some strange lights that looked like they were coming from the ground up, almost like on a rainbow, but upside down. And in the last shot, there's a picture of a saucer, and it was a dash cam, so. You know, it wasn't like he was messing with the dash cam. The dash cam never moved. The timestamps were proper. So I think there are some real things going on out there. And then, of course, you got the government not releasing all the videos. You know, it declassified 3 of the videos, including the Tic Tac clip. And so are we on the edge of disclosure? Who knows? Are we on the edge of a lot of lonely people? Yes, absolutely. We're just getting such strange reports. I mean, walking humanoids, walking around in town, rakes. And one of my guys did look it up. He said, that movie, The Rake, did show on one of the cable channels about a month ago. And, people are copying photographs from the movie and sending those in. And, I mean, it kills the boredom a little bit, but it does get a little bit silly now and then. And it has been more lately than it ever was.
I want to ask you, because the breaking news today comes out of Washington, D.C., where the Pentagon and the Department of Defense, along with the United States Navy, actually declassified the 3 videos that came out in 2017. Now, one of those videos actually came out in 2007, and for the while there, they were denying it and saying it wasn't ours, and then they went, well, it's ours, but we don't know how they got out. We have to do an investigation, everything along those lines. What do you think about today's announcement with these UAP videos getting declassified?
Well, it sure shut up a bunch of debunkers. That's what it did. I think that, declassified is kind of a funny word coming out of the U.S. Navy. But a lot of these sightings that go way back, and some of them were investigated pretty steadily, and a lot of them weren't, especially ones that anything came out of the military, especially Russia with their stuff. But I guess it's gotten to the point now where, they just got to say what it is. I mean, the pilots that are taking these photographs with their gun cameras, I mean, they're saying what it is. You can't shut these people up forever. And why would a pilot lie about something that he's already got on film? I mean, when you listen to the conversation on the one video, I mean, you can tell that pilot's a nervous wreck. And I just think that a lot of this stuff there's going to be more and more coming out as time goes on. And then, with the startup of the Space Force now and all the stuff that's going on with that, I think that declassification just fed into the belief that, hey, there's stuff up there. We have no idea what it is. We don't know where it comes from. We don't know who pilots them. And we don't know why they're here. We don't know when they got here. We don't know when they're leaving. We don't know where, it's that whole realm. And it's kind of amazing that, like you said, when these things first popped up, I mean, they were denying that, left and right. And then all of a sudden, they declassify these 3 videos, including that Tic Tac craft. But I think there's a hell of a lot more out there than what they declassified. Don't you?
Oh, absolutely, I do. Absolutely. I mean, this is just the tip of the iceberg. I have a feeling, and this is just me, but I have a feeling that there is probably some backstory as to why they released this, because really there was no purpose to actually doing it, and I just feel that there has to be a backstory, because nothing just comes out, Butch. Nothing.
No. Mm-mm. No. And, it could be a lot of things. Maybe somebody has more and better information in what they've got. Or it could be, some of these groups that have started up in the last few years, which were very hard to believe when they started up, the Stars Academy and stuff like that. And, it could be just another way of poking them in the eye with a finger. But, and you have the new program on TV, the Hunt for Skinwalker, or whatever it's called now, and all the stuff that they're doing, and things that are going on there. Well, if that's true, if what they're finding and what they're discovering is true, then that book, The Hunt for Skinwalker, was a joke, because none of the evidence from that book, from when Bigelow owned the property, was ever shared with anybody. These guys are sharing everything with everybody, so, or I suppose everything. So we'll see where it's all going to go. But, I mean, you know, just in the last month and a half, I mean, we've got everything. We've got rakes, we got Bigfoot, we got UFOs, we got creepy crawlers, we got, you name it.
Oh, we're going to get into
monster.
it. We're definitely going to get into it. Yeah. Hey, Butch, I want to ask you, I know you have been, I'm not going to say the word critical of Tom DeLonge, but you have been, you know, very weary of the entire To the Stars Academy situation. What do you
Yes.
think of a comment like DeLonge makes today on Twitter, where he says the DOD is finally admitting my videos are real? You know, the last I checked, yeah,
they're not his videos. How would he have classified videos from the United States Navy?
Well, that's the big question. And you know, it's funny. The funny part about it is I actually sent a tweet back, and I know he'll never respond. I sent a tweet back, and I said, can you please tell us how the To the Stars Academy is allowed to put their logo or your logo on United States Navy videos? Fair question.
Yeah, a fair question, and they can't. What a lot of people don't understand is, you know, a lot of people think that our premier black ops agencies in this country is the CIA and the Department of Defense. No, it's not. It never has been, never will be. Our top intelligence community is the United States Navy. They've been that way since their inception, and they continue up until today. They are the premier intelligence agency of this country. There is nobody above them. There is nobody basically below them. They are what they are, and I would probably venture to say within a few days somebody will have him remove those stamps off of their video.
I'm surprised they haven't already.
Well, they might have. I don't know. I only saw that this morning. I didn't check lately. But, I mean, if you want covert operations, it's the United States Navy. I mean, their intelligence community is unbelievable. And if there's anything secret, top secret, or anything above that, the United States Navy is involved. So
why is that? Why the Navy?
Well, it actually started when the Navy was being formed. There really was no such thing as intelligence agencies back then. And they were the first ones to really start to catalog stuff against the British and against other countries on the high seas. And they worked their way in. And it's just been that way since that time. It's just the way it is. I mean, their classifications for top secret go way and above what the president knows.
It's very interesting indeed. You know, but like I said, I mean, when you look at the fact that they had declassified these videos, they're not making them or admitting that they are UFOs. They're calling them unidentified aerial phenomena. And they're basically saying we don't know if the technology is somewhere else or if it's from here. We just know that it's very advanced. Is that the proper cover-up to get out of this squeaky clean?
Well, I wouldn't say they get out of it squeaky clean, but what'll put the proof in the pudding is if they put out more videos. I'm not saying that's going to happen tomorrow, but let's just say in 6 months they come up with another crop of vehicles, of videos, and put them out there of unknown vehicles in the sky, gun cameras, or maybe from a different time period. Maybe not something so recent as these, but maybe something, going back further, World War II era or something like that. There was just this, I just saw a little bit of it. There wasn't a whole lot on it today, where the space station recorded a object in one of their passes, and so I mean, that was out. They put that out right away, and that was put out by NASA.
Butch Witkowski is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. I want to ask you, does this do anything for disclosure? The fact that these videos have been disqualified. What's the word I'm looking for all of a sudden?
Disclosure.
Disclosed, yes.
Yeah. Well, look, a long time ago, Colonel John Alexander pretty much told everybody in front of a very large audience at the X conference in Washington, D.C., that disclosure has already been made. I mean, there have been photographs, the example he used was photographs of the Foo Fighters back in World War II. He said, we thought they were Japan's or Germany's. Germany and Japan thought they were ours. Nobody knew what they were, but they were there, and there's good pictures of them, photographs and video. Well, not video, but film. So he says, look, nobody's saying they don't exist. He said, they just don't talk about it, and you make up your own mind. And, when anybody mentions government, the first thing pops in their head is conspiracy, or, they're not going to tell us this and the other thing. But it's just goofy. It's just goofy that a lot of these things have been around for so long. And it's just in recent years that a couple little things have been made, out to the public. But I think it's just the beginning. I think we're going to get more stuff from the government, or at least from the Navy anyway, because they already stuck their foot in it. But I don't know.
Are you surprised that the media hasn't said, well, if you are releasing these to the public and you are saying that these videos are real, are you surprised the media doesn't or hasn't asked, what else you got?
Oh, no, nothing surprises me about the media. They're more worried about the election and Biden and Trump and everything else, and the COVID-19 virus right now. I mean, they could have something land in the White House lawn. I doubt very much if there'll be anything said about it. It's kind of weird, that when I've been stuck in this house now for over 30 days, and no matter what you turn on TV, the news is all the same every day. It never changes. It's all the same. Just like the Declassification today. That wasn't on TV at all, on any channel. But it was all over the internet. So, I've been relegated to watching old sci-fi movies and reading books and looking at reports coming in. But I don't know, Dave. I just don't think they want to stick their foot in that. They got too many other irons in the fire right now, with this Biden deal and the lady and all that stuff. So it's going to be shows like SOAR and, a few other shows and researchers and investigators that are hot on the internet and Twitter and all that stuff that are going to keep it going. And that's mainly what I look at now, because just if I see one more person tell me about sticking something up my nose, I'm going to have a friggin' fit.
Well, we don't want you having a heart attack again. We don't need that.
No.
We definitely don't need that. We've got about 4 minutes to go before we got to go to break at the bottom of the hour. Butch Witkowski from UFO Cop is our guest. Butch, I want to ask you, in regards to the entire field of ufology, this kind of blew things up on social media today. And, we're all trying to figure out, what is the purpose of this? Why come clean on these videos? Is there more evidence out there? What else is everybody hiding?
Oh,
does this close? Yeah, but does this close the doors on any future videos coming out because they have declassified these ones?
No, I think there'll be more coming out. You're talking about, a 10-year period that these videos were taken in. And you can't say that ufology and UFOs have only existed for a 10-year period. I mean, this stuff has been going on from, the earliest photograph of UFO is 1897. And nobody debunked it. Nobody says anything against it. I think that as time goes on, it's just going to trickle and trickle and trickle, and you're going to have more people asking and people wanting to know more information, and there's going to be more FOIA requests sent. They're probably being sent in by the hundreds right now, for more information on these videos. The pilots' names are already out there. That didn't take long. They didn't cover that up very well, so they're not going to do any talking because they're still all in uniform. But once that ends, these guys are going to be right up there with their stories. We'll see. I'm hopeful. More is going to come out, but there's so much now that's out that for somebody to say they don't believe in UFOs, it's just kind of strange to me, because there's stuff up in that sky we just can't explain, and we don't have any craft that can do some of the stuff they do. Now,
well, my jaw almost dropped when I interviewed on stage Kevin Day at UFOCon, and he told me that, and the audience there, that when they did the numbers and looked at the statistics from the previous day when they sent Commander Fravor and his wingman over to check out the Tic Tac, that the Tic Tac dropped from 28,000 feet down to sea level in 0.74 seconds.
Yeah. We ain't got nothing that could do that. We couldn't do that if you couldn't do that if you put a jet, an F-18 in a nosedive. You couldn't do that.
I agree.
And the gun cameras, the way those cameras are set up, I mean, it's not just only that they're recording inside the jet, but that video is going out. I mean, to satellites, it's being saved just in case anything would happen to the jet. They already have the video. But I think in the near future, I think we're going to get more information of exactly what's been going on. I know there was a story, I'm going to say a month and a half, maybe a couple of weeks right before the last show, where there were some submariners had a story to tell. And I guess they hired a couple lawyers to make sure what they were saying were not anything that was top secret, but that hasn't come out yet. But I guess if anybody would see anything, it'll be out in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah, no kidding. Butch, I'm going to get you to hold on. Butch Witkowski's Strange Days happens once a month here on Spaced Out Radio, where Butch from UFOcop.com comes in, talks about all the strange and weird that he has been investigating around Pennsylvania, around North America. Once again, his website, UFOcop.com. When we come back, we're going to learn about humanoids and what the heck is a rake. And we're not talking the one that you rake up the leaves with on Spaced Out Radio next.
Hey, space travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
From the heartlands of Canada to beards around the world, we know how to take care of you. Fill your follicles with the Mighty Moose Beard Oil. All our oils and balms are handmade and 100% natural ingredients because we care about your beard. And hey, use the promo code SOR2019 and get your Mighty Moose Beard Oil today. You can check us out on our website, mightymoosebeard.com.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know little brother is watching.
We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. And while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
Hey everybody, the SOR Space Travelers is open. For just $5 a month, you can hang out with Dave and our crew privately in our members-only section. With your signing, you'll receive newsletters on what's going on with Spaced Out Radio. You'll have direct contact with the host during the show in our chat, live streaming videos, and a great forum for your posts and more. Become a space traveler now at spacedoutradio.com.
You wanted new SOR gear, and now you can have it. The SOR Vault is fully stocked with t-shirts, hats, hoodies, mugs, and everything in between, with great logos for you to choose from. So head on over to spacedoutradio.com, click on the SOR Vault, and go shopping. Pricing is quite affordable, and you can look good representing your favorite show. So go to our website and pick up your new SOR wear at the SOR Vault today.
If you like it hot, real hot, then heat up your meals with Bumblefoot hot sauce.
Get your Bumblefoot hot sauce today. The sauce, Bumblicious, and the 4 million Scoville unit Bumble. We're going in hot, real hot, coming out even hotter.
Keep the milk nearby and tantalize your taste buds tonight.
Bumblefoot hot sauce, available now at kajans.com.
Cold drinks, great food, and the best music in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is the place to be, open until 2 a.m. nightly. Everything on the menu starts at just $6.95. Who serves food that cheap anymore? At the Moose, you'll never know who you'll run into. Rock stars, actors, athletes. It's the place everyone wants to be. So join us at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Hello, Space Travelers. It's me again, Carl. Don't forget to join the Space Travelers Club for just $5 a month and follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Our Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come woo it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye!
Are you looking for great advertising value for your company? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. We have a multitude of places to get your name out there, including commercial ads during the show, special promotions, and banners on our website. Our audience is proven to support the companies that support our show. We can make your budget work for you. So for more information, please contact us at sales@spacedoutradio.com.
At spacedoutradio.com, we are keeping you up to date on all the news with the SOR Newswire. Captain Shirk leads the team that is bringing you the news of the day and exclusive stories on everything paranormal and supernatural. It's free to read, it's updated daily, and it's right there for you. The SOR Newswire is a one-stop shop for the news of the day. Check it out at spacedoutradio.com today.
Need that weekend supernatural fix? Look no further than Spaced Out Saturday right here at spacedoutradio.com. I'm Stacey Edwards.
And I'm John Edwards. Each Saturday night, Stacey and I are going to bring you the best in paranormal, cryptids, UFOs, you name it, and we're going there.
It's all about the experience and to share the knowledge with all of you.
So tune us in every Saturday night on Spaced Out Saturdays, starting at 9:06 p.m. Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com.
We're taking Sunday nights out of this world on Spaced Out Radio. This is Michael W. Hall, also known as the Paranormal Lawyer. Together, we're going to go on an exciting journey into the unknown. I'm going to bring you some of the best interviews in the paranormal and supernatural to start your new week off on a freaky note. So tune in to Spaced Out Sundays with me, Michael W. Hall, only on spacedoutradio.com.
Welcome back to the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio. Tonight, I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate you taking the time. We want to say to everyone, if you've missed portions of this show or others, you can check out our free archives at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including Rocket Out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, and my personal handle at Dave Scott SOR. We got Butch Witkowski's Strange Days happening tonight. It happens near the end of every month, where we bring in Mr. Butch Witkowski from UFOcop.com to come talk monsters, weird stuff. So if you like the woo, we're going to turn it up right now. Butch, welcome back.
Yes, sir.
What the heck is a rake?
Well, unbelievable, but a lot of the descriptions are pretty much the same. They're very tall, human-like. They're usually very pale, whitish, kind of an oval-shaped head, very dark, almost black eyes. There are a couple with glowing red eyes, but not many of those. They're always seen in the very beginning of a sighting, where they're kind of crouched down or hiding, trying to hide. Sometimes they're on all fours, and most times they're standing straight up behind a tree or something like that. But they have very long arms and limbs, very long fingers with claws, and feet the same way. Now, as in all great monsters or unknown things, they started in Europe. And then they really never took off. It was always something that was pretty much, a story that was passed on, or, a good campfire ghost story or something like that. But a movie came out a number of years ago called The Rake. And there was a flurry of reports. We had one here in Pennsylvania that was pretty much all over the internet. But the photograph was actually a still taken from the the movie of the Rake. And they're supposed to be a humanoid type creature that lives only in the forest, is never seen outside the forest anywhere. And it will attack if provoked. Animals, especially dogs, don't like them. They'll go after them. They'll chase them down. And they'll just run away and kind of just like disappear. And that's pretty much the story of the Rake. We have been inundated in the last month with stories of the Rake. And that same picture that was still taken from the movie. I have no idea. I'm kind of almost putting it to people who are just bored to death. Nothing going on. They can't go out. And if they do go out, they can't go far. They can't do this. They can't do that. But the Rake's been around in stories for a long, long time. Matter of fact, in a couple children's stories, the Rake is mentioned from the 17, 18, and 19th centuries. So I'm just going to attribute it to a story, just something passed on from one campfire to the next, I guess. But unlike the Bigfoot reports, these all seem to be, in one form or another, not only in description, but how they're seen. they're seen hiding behind a tree or crouching in the bushes. I mean, and that's almost in every report. Where Bigfoot, I mean, they're seen walking, they're doing a lot of things. But the Bigfoot reports have picked up. Of course, the Rake is right now, I guess, the hot thing. It just seems like anything humanoid that comes to mind is being seen, and it's being seen all over the country. I got a report today, and this one's from north central Alabama, and this was a family that was hiking. Now, the first thing that catches you in the report is a group of friends and family were hiking at night in north central Alabama. Who hikes at night?
Not me, man. There's things here that'll kill you.
I've been on a lot of hikes in my life, and I've never hiked at night. I mean, sit by the campfire, cooking some hot dogs, drinking a few beers, yeah, that, but never hiking at night. So, again, I think I'm going to attribute a lot of these reports and humanoids, and some of the humanoid reports are just unbelievable. You know, they got the head of a moose, they got the body of Godzilla, some are lizard-like, some are in lakes. They're seen swimming in creeks. Now, how do you swim in a creek? I mean,
well, depends how deep it is. Some of the creeks here are flowing, man.
Yeah, I understand flowing creek. I mean, I'd love to fish, but I've never been in a creek that I could swim in. I mean, I've been maybe thigh high or waist high, maybe, but not swimming. But anyhow, I just think it's just old stories that have carried on for a long, long time. And again, they started over in England, and I'm going to attribute all of them, because they all make no sense at all, to people just being bored. They need excitement. They need to hear a story. They need to get onto something. But we've had a bipedal report. We've had another unknown animal report and a state game plan that's about maybe 12 miles from my house. It's the exact same park that we go down to test equipment, because it's one of the darkest places in Pennsylvania. There's no light pollution whatsoever. And if you don't have some type of a red flashlight and you start walking around out there, you're probably going to bust your nose on the first tree you get in touch with. And there's a report down there of the gentleman said he saw something bipedal run through the woods. He said it wasn't an animal. He lives on the property. There are some homes in the state park that were grandfathered in, so they've been there for a long time. And it was just something that just frightened him. You know, it just didn't belong there. Description was just really tall, pale. But that's pretty much about it. Now, when I asked about tall, they said, between 7 and 8 foot. So that kind of ruled out some nude guy running through the woods. The park is closed right now, so I can't talk to the rangers. We know them all. They take care of us when we go down there to do our thing. And if anybody's going to know anything, it's going to be those guys, because it's a regular police department, the rangers down there. It's 7,000 acres of state game land, and there's some federal lands along the edge. So, I mean, they're regular cops that work there, and they're out all the time. Now the park is closed, so when I talked to the sergeant, he said that they have no reports that he's aware of anything like that. But he said when we get the park open and the guys start coming in, because right now they're just running like one man on a shift when there's normally 3 or 4. He said, I'll get the guys together and we'll see if anybody comes up with anything. I can get down and talk to them. But so there's a bipedal something running around down there. But we've had Bigfoot reports down there. We've had big bipedal canine reports in that area. But it's a huge park. I hunted there with my son for many years, and it's just huge, and it's dense, very dense. There's a couple old farm foundations when there were farms back in the day. There are some properties that are still lived on that were grandfathered in. Smaller farms that I don't even think they do farming anymore. But UFO reports, got a half a dozen of them. Some of them are very good. Yeah. It's just like, well, another thing is, it's just like my wife said. She said, well, people aren't doing anything. Maybe they are outside looking around. And I said, that could be true. They could be. Our weather here has been rainy. We've had some good clear days, clear nights. Mostly rain. It's been on the warm side for this time of year, the high 50s, low 60s. We hit a couple days there where we're in the 70s. So maybe that's true, too, that, more people are out there looking around.
Well, this leads to the question, with everybody stuck at home right now, all right, how does that not affect nature from becoming more inquisitive and curious on property and land that maybe they've stayed away from due to human activity that isn't there right now?
That could be, sure. I have to say I've had an uptake in emails as far away as California for sightings, and I have one from Ontario. So I think there is a growing interest in what we do. I just don't. There's no way that I can tell how serious anybody is by one report or two reports. But at least they're out there looking. And, for many, many years, they didn't do that. They just took verbatim whatever some research organization said happened, and that was the fact. But now you got a lot of independents out there now. There's a lot, especially in the Bigfoot realm. There's a lot of independent researchers out in the field. Some came out of retirement that I know and are friends with, and they're very good at what they did, and they got away from it, and now they're heading back out. So it's one of those things where, what goes around comes around, I guess. And hey, I'm thankful to get the reports. Now, some of them are, like I said before, they're older reports. So the only thing I can do with them is go back to that location at that time of the report and see if there was anything else in that area. And then it's basically put in a file. I don't throw any report away. I never did. I got so many reports, it's crazy. But these Rake reports, I think they're just tales that just carried on from one generation to the next. And like I said, good campfire ghost stories.
What's the difference between a Rake and, say, what people say is the Slenderman?
Slendermen are usually have no face to speak of. They're very, very tall, a lot taller than 7 foot. They have hands. They don't have any claws. I mean, they wear shoes. The whole bit. They're dressed up usually in a black suit. And that was actually a video game, the Slender Man. And then, of course, you had those two girls trying to kill their friend because the Slender Man told them to do that. So you don't hear much about him anymore. He seemed to go by the wayside right after that happened. And then there was another one that used to be really prevalent. I mean, you could always find a report almost every week on shadow men, in somebody's bedroom or some paranormal group witnessed a shadow man or something like that. But the thing that always intrigued me about a shadow man was that they always wore a hat. Never figured that one out yet. So that's kind of another one that slowed down. But as far as UFO reports, the bipedal reports, strange things in the woods, Bigfoot, those reports they just keep coming. They just keep coming.
Do you believe that creatures like this, Rake or the Slender Man, have to be conjured up in order for people to have any type of sighting, or do you think this is just mythical imagination?
Well, I think I don't. The only one I know, not the Rake, but the Slender Man, could be conjured up, and some people say he could be conjured up with a Ouija board. I do not know that. I've only seen one or two reports like that in all the time that I've seen those reports. One of the other things with the Rake has always seen, hiding. It's never seen just walking through the woods or any place else. It's always hiding when it's seen. It's like it'll be hiding behind a tree or crouching low in the bushes, and then when it's seen, it stands up and it either runs off on all fours or runs off on two legs. So it's, there's tales of flying pterodactyls out in Four Corners part of the United States. They're midget reptiles, like a midget Tyrannosaurus Rex or a raptor. I mean, some of this stuff really borders on crazy, but still got to be investigated. I mean, you can't say I'm not interested. Of course I'm interested. Back of my head I may be going like, you really need some help, but the reports are what they are, and you got to take them for what they are. I mean, it's somebody relaying to you an experience that they had, that they believe to be true and factual, whether it is or not. And if they have collaborating evidence like video or photographs or multi-witness, you got to follow it up. No matter how you feel about it, I mean, it's something you got to keep on. And if you don't do it, you're never going to learn anything.
What is the difference between these creatures and aliens? Because looking at all the depictions and drawings that people have of these, they look alien. They don't look like cryptid type creatures.
No, they do look alien. And I think a lot of that has to do with the shape of the head being oval. And the big black eyes, I think, is what lends the credence that they could be alien. But they're never, even the reports you get where aliens are seen, which are few and far between, they're never described as that tall. They're always described as shorter, long hands, and they have some kind of appendages, fingers, always wearing, some type of garment, or they're gray, or they're green, reptilians. And that's strange to me that reptilians have not popped up in all this stuff, because usually when there's something strange out in the woods or anyplace else, then you have, the reptilians living underground, under the earth, toward the center of the earth and stuff like that. But it's, look, there's a lot of freaky reports out there, but you take them for what they are. The Bigfoot reports right now are, they seem to be getting, how can I say this? They seem to be getting more real, if that makes any sense. And when I say that, I mean the descriptions of the distance that they're seeing, or they couldn't take a shot of the camera because it was walking in and out of a wooded area, and it just would look like a tree. I mean, they were very honest. They just seemed to be more honest with their sighting reports. And I was on a radio show the other week, and the guy asked me flat out if I believed in Bigfoot. And I said, well, if I don't, I have to call everybody that's ever reported one a liar, and that's not going to happen. We don't know everything. We're just investigators. We're researchers. We're trying to prove what's out there, prove what you said, what you told me. That's what I'm looking for. I mean, there's a lot of footprints being taken, especially up in your area.
Definitely. And that is something that, we always got to check out is whether or not these things are tied to one another. Because like I said to you before I asked the question, I was looking at some images of the Rake, and to me that looks like a tall gray with a smaller head. That's all it looks like. I mean, they have the same lanky body. They have the same, finger shape that people see, almost the same head shape. And I'm just wondering if there is something more extraterrestrial about it.
Well, and look, I guess there could be. I mean, none has ever been real. There's never been actually a real photograph taken of one of these things. They're always either drawings or they are film captures. At least I can't find any. I've talked to a couple other people; they can't find them either. So now, if you had a video or a good camera shot of something standing there, or walking someplace or something like that, and then that lends credence to there is something there. But over the years, we've seen those photographs of bipedal wolves walking down the street. That turned out to be a hoax. We had creatures perched on a roof at a indigenous reservation. That turned out to be a hoax. So, it just, which brings up Skinwalkers, which I wanted to bring up anyway.
Right.
There's a ton of reports out there for them right now. Why? I have no idea. And they're all in that southern Arizona, New Mexico area of, and black-eyed kids. That's another one. The Becks. It's crazy. I mean, the reports right now are just, you name it. It's like every time you open up your email or I go into my report form on the internet, I mean, it's like creature de jour. What is it today? So
I don't know. We got just about a minute 30 left before we got to go to break at the top of the hour. Butch Witkowski is our guest tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Do you think there is a tie between all of these creatures, whether it's Slenderman, whether it's the Rake, or any type of troll or goblin or anything like that?
I think, and this is my personal opinion, I always thought that all these things are connected somehow. There's some kind of common denominator that we're missing or we're not meant to know, but I just think that when you say paranormal, you should encompass everything you've ever read or know about or investigated, whether it's up in the sky or it's on the ground. It doesn't matter. But no, I'll agree to that. I just think it's all connected. There's something going on that, and another thing was the certain areas, like you have certain areas where the Bigfoot reports come out of, a certain area where you get these Rake reports, certain area where you get these bipedal reports. I mean, I don't want to say they're localized, but they just seem to be in, depending on what part of the country you're in, or what country you're in, that's the type of creature you're going to be running into, with the exception of your area in Canada. If I take the reports from your area and match them up to Washington State or Oregon, they're going to be almost identical.
Interesting. Butch, I'm going to get you to hold on right there because we are going to go to break here at the top of the hour. Butch Witkowski's Strange Days happens the end of every month, where we bring in Butch to talk about everything weird and strange. We're going to take your questions next. I know they're starting to build up as well. We're going to get into flying humanoids. And we're not just talking people too hopped up on Red Bull either. More Spaced Out Radio with Hour 2 next.
Hey everyone, I'm John Edwards.
And I'm Stacey Edwards. Together we're taking over Saturday nights on Spaced Out Radio, where we're going to bring our own experiences of the paranormal and talk to the best people we can find to help bring you answers to your strange tales.
We're here to entertain your need for weekend woo! So tune us in at spacedoutradio.com starting at 9:06 Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, where we can all get a little spooky together.
Spaced Out Saturday nights right here at spacedoutradio.com.
I'm feeling a little spicy tonight. What to do?
Why not get Bumblefuck?
4 million Scoville units of pure hard rock. Bumblefoot hot sauces come in 3 flavors. The burning Bumble. Tone it down a bit with Bumblicious and throw the sauce on everything.
Spice it up. Bumble me, baby. Bumblefoot hot sauce. Get it today at kajans.com.
We are scouring the world for the most intriguing stories of your day. Take the time to read up on the SOR Newswire, where our team, led by Captain Shirk, will deliver to you some of the best paranormal and supernatural news, along with some stories that will blow your mind from the weird to the wacky. It's the news outside the news that piques interest, and that's what we're looking to deliver to you. The SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Come tune in to SOR where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com and remember, Little Brother is Watching.
Hey, space travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
Are you an experiencer of something strange that can't be explained? Do you want help finding out what's going on? I'm Ryan Stacy, head of the Experiencer Support Association, otherwise known as TESSA. We've teamed up with Spaced Out Radio to investigate cases filled out in the SOR Sightlines report. We are independent and there's no cost to what we do. All we need is your experience. Let's find out what's happening together on the SOR Sightlines report.
Hello, space travelers. It's me again, Carl. Don't forget to join the Space Travelers Club for just $5 a month and follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Our Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come woo it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye!
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at mightymoosebeard.com today.
Hi there, this is the paranormal lawyer Michael W. Hall. I'd like to invite you to listen in each Sunday night where we're going to open up your eyes to everything strange and paranormal. I will be hosting some great guests with topics that affect us all, such as UFOs, ghosts, and everything paranormal. Let's learn together on Spaced Out Radio Sunday with myself, Michael W. Hall, the paranormal lawyer at spacedoutradio.com.
Hi, this is Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel where we store all of the SOR show archives for free. And as an added bonus, every 2 weeks I'm posting brand new content on Cryptid Tales, where I will get into some of the spookier legends and folklore from around the world and tell the stories that go with them. Find us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio and check out Cryptid Tales today. Drop a comment and let me know what you want to hear. See you there.
For the price of 1 cup of coffee a month, you can become an SOR Space Traveler. The Space Travelers Club is a place where you can interact with other listeners, either live during the show or on our great forum. We want your stories, pictures, comments, and ideas. You'll get live video streams, exclusive content, and be a part of our newsletter. Stay in touch with everything SOR. The Space Travelers Club is just $5 a month at spacedoutradio.com.
The SOR Vault is open for business, and do we have some cool swag for you to pick up? All you have to do is head over to our website and click on the SOR Vault. You have a variety of cool logos to choose from, and put them on anything you want. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, coffee mugs, you name it, we can get it to you. So do your shopping by supporting the store you love. Get your Spaced Out Radio swag at the SOR Vault today.
The party is always on at the Moose Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is where you want to be when visiting Canada's West Coast. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose cranks up the rock while serving some of the best rated food in the city. The menu starts at $6.95. Why party anywhere else in Vancouver when the Moose is right there? Get your horns up and rock with the Moose, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Looking for creative ways to get your company out in the public? How about advertising on Spaced Out Radio? Our sales department is waiting to hear from you, and we can work around any budget. From commercial spots to banners to special promotions, there are many opportunities to get your name and product out to our SOR listeners. For a price guide and more information, please contact us at sales@spacedoutradio.com.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook Spaced Out Radio Show.
We are underway on Spaced Out Radio tonight, hour number 2. Thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate you taking the time. We say hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates across North America. On the digital side, on TalkStream Live and Revolution Radio, please check out our free archives at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Belemnoid is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and staying up to date on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire and much more. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio for the show, and my personal handle at Dave Scott SOR. Butch Witkowski's Strange Days happens at the end of every month here on Spaced Out Radio, where we get into the weird, the strange, and the downright unbelievable as Butch joins us from UFOcop.com out of Pennsylvania. Butch, thank you so much for joining us again. I got a couple of audience questions here, if you don't mind.
Okay.
All right. Before we get to flying humanoids, that's for sure. Bill is asking, Butch, do you know any more of the woman who was mauled to death in North Carolina?
Matter of fact, on last Monday, I got an update on that report. They do not know. They are actually taking donations for the police department to expand their investigation. It's pretty much just as it was the last time they brought it up. They have no idea. None whatsoever what killed that woman.
So for people who may not be familiar with the story, explain what happened and when.
It was an elderly lady going to church, and she didn't show up, and so people got a little concerned. And they actually found her body in basically a ditch, I guess you would call it, on the side of the road. And she was pretty much shredded. She was just torn apart. And they ruled out a bear because there was no chew marks or anything like that. Bear would have ate. There's no mountain lions or anything like that in the area. They did all the DNA testing, because there was a lot of blood. And so they did all the DNA testing they could to see if it was some known animal, and that came up negative. They have, till this day, they have no idea. But they are soliciting donations to the police department to continue their investigation. And that was last Monday I got that.
Very interesting. And, that story came quickly after, what was it, 40, 50 miles down the road, that little boy was found alive after disappearing off of his property. He was 3 years
Correct.
Old. And he said a teddy bear grabbed him.
Yeah.
And kept him safe.
Yeah, yep. He was in the type of weather they were having at that point. He should have been dead. And if it would have been a bear, the bear would have ate him. I mean, bear would have been out of hibernation. And no bears would have been out of hibernation. So I think pretty much everybody's got that down to, dare I say, Bigfoot.
Well, let me ask you this. Couldn't it not have been a pack of wild dogs? There's some vicious dogs out there, man, that are running around wild.
There was, when they did a search of the scene where the boy was found, they found no hair, no scat, no markings of any kind of any type of animal. So, you know, that's going to be one for the books, because like you said, he had teddy bear took care of him, and you know, if anybody knows anything about a bear, if they catch you, you're lunch.
Very true. Very, very true. All right, let's move on to a question from Buck. Is there anything new on the Todd Seas case?
At this point, the only thing that we might have a lead on a gentleman that was at the farm next door to his property that said he's seen something in the sky above the power lines. Now, his description of that was it just didn't belong there. But he moved, and we do have a line on him, so we'll see what we get out of him. But that's the newest.
All right. Let's move on to Gail's questions. Gail is asking, everything everywhere is coming out since humans have gone inside. Are the increased numbers being recorded and tracked?
You mean the numbers of reports?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, because whether it's, no matter what kind of report it is, there's always a historical search done right away. So if somebody sends me something from Nyack, New York, I'll go back, and see if there's any similar sightings of anything like they reported in that area. No, and like I said before, we don't throw any report away. That would just be dumb, because you never know. I mean, that report from Nyack, New York may not prove anything now, but maybe next year or the year after that, there'll be a good sighting, maybe some pictures, and we can always fall back on that report and say, yeah, well, this happened back in 2 years ago or something. So we do log the area, the state, the county, address if we have it. But that's always logged. That's in the computer, and that's in a paper file also.
All right, follow-up question from Gail. If the numbers are being recorded, which you just said they are, when things go back to normal, will researchers have a better idea where to go hunt for these elusive creatures?
Yes, absolutely. Sure. Yeah.
Have you seen any patterns so far in your area on where to track and check things out?
Yeah. With our bipedal, we have the lichen loop. So, and every report we've gotten up until the very last one, which I think we're now at 59, I believe, has been within the loop. Nothing outside that loop. So we know in that area of the loop, which is 150 miles by 80 miles, that's where the reports have all been located. Now, we have historical reports outside that loop, but they date back to the late 18th century, early 19th century, and into the 40s, 50s, and 60s. And some of those reports are very valid, especially the one from 1868. I think it's 1868 or 69. I keep forgetting, where a gentleman shot at what he described as a large bipedal wolf-like creature going after his goats. I think it was goats or sheep, one or the other. And he went into town and reported to the local constable, because no police departments back then, of what he saw, and it was printed in the newspaper. And that was in the Erie, Pennsylvania area. And the description he gave to the constable was exactly matching the descriptions that we have today. So
Very cool.
that's telling us that this thing has been around for a long, long time. And we have some folks that say, you know, that it could be a guardian of indigenous grave sites. It could be Skinwalker protecting, you know, battlegrounds, because up until 1754, there were no white people in Pennsylvania. This was all Indian territory. And they were all at war with each other. Every tribe hated each other. Everybody was, you know, they just battle it out and pretty much wipe each other out. And then you have the Navajo in the Southwest, which, you know, pretty much cursed everybody else with the Skinwalkers. So whatever it is, it's out there. I mean, the description of it is exact. The mannerisms of the creature are exact. We've only had 2 instances where it approached somebody that was not very good. Where we had one guy in a hunting stand in a tree, excuse me, where it walked up under the tree and started growling at him. And then the most recent one was a 6-person group that lived in the area of a park and were just out for a walk, which they took pretty much once or twice a month. And it stepped out of the tree line on them, and the one lady lost it. She started screaming and carrying on, and it didn't lunge toward them. It made steps toward them, growling, and they just turned around and ran. That's the only 2 instances we have of any potential ugliness that could have happened.
All right. Question from Wayland. He is asking about a report you talked about that you received earlier from Alabama. What did the hikers actually find?
Actually, their dogs started it. They have a coonhound in the Great Pyrenees, which started growling and looking defensive. And they looked and they saw it crouching in a wooded area off the trail. And it stood up, staggered back a few steps, and then took off.
Well, that's strange.
Mm-hmm.
That's strange. All right, let's head over to these flying humanoids. There's been a couple of reports on social media recently about it. One video looked highly CGI. I believe it was out of Mexico. And, you know, but people are reporting seeing winged humanoids flying around. Is this a return of Mothman, or is this something completely different, Butch?
Well, some of the reports are completely different. Some of the reports, they're identical to Mothman. But you got to remember that these people are not, they're not using binoculars or anything like that. They're just staring up the sky and they see something big with large wings. And what they say is a long tail. But, you know, look at a crane. Take a crane and just take a shadow picture of a crane and take one of a pterodactyl. They look identical at that height. Now, I don't know how good an eyesight these people have. The only video that was ever taken was enlarged by a reputable company out in California. And it turned out that it was a bird, a condor. So, although there's a lot of researchers that believe there is something up there, and there could be, there's also a lot of researchers think it's misidentification.
Right. Okay.
Well, it's just like, take Bigfoot. You take Bigfoot, you get somebody that lived in Brooklyn all their life, and they go out to the woods and they see something brown running through the woods. It's Bigfoot. No, it's probably a deer. They don't know. It's misidentification. So when you have something at that high in the sky, I mean, it's not like these are like, you know, a couple hundred feet off the ground. Some of these are a couple thousand feet in the air.
Well, okay, so these creatures that people are seeing, they almost look like they are featherless. Right. Almost have a darker skin tone color, like a reddish brown. or a cream type color. You know, I mean, that just is freaky nonetheless. And the wingspan of, you know, anywhere between 8 to 12 feet.
Right. Now, those are the ones that are seen on the ground, especially in the Chicago area, at Chicago O'Hare Airport, at their loading terminals. I think there's 3 sightings, maybe 4, but I'm pretty sure there's 3 of this creature that you just described, like standing by a fence at one time, standing near a parking lot at another time, and standing near a loading dock at another time. Now, all 3 creatures in descriptions were similar but different. And only, I think, one, and I might be wrong, and I think one was seen taking off where the description of the large wingspan. But no, they've been seen on the ground. So those are the ones that you have to question. I don't know, you know, I got pretty good eyesight, so I know when I look up in the sky, you know, I can tell the difference between a jet and a Piper Cub. But I'd be far-fetched if I could discern what type of bird would be flying at 1,000 feet or more than that. But the things on the ground are interesting because they give more of a humanoid description, you know, like bat-like wings, tall, kind of human-looking head, humanoid-looking head. So,
have these things been known to attack people?
No, none that I've ever, no report that I've ever read, none of that, no.
Interesting. Where do you think they come from? Do they come from some magical land out there that is from a different dimension? And I'm not even saying that to be sarcastic.
No, you know, we don't know enough about dimensions to even say yay or nay. You have in Chicago, especially underground Chicago, is like an underground city that's been closed down for many years. I mean, there's 1,000 places that something could hide down there. You know, it's like the bipedal. For all the reports we have, I mean, they're not out of the deep, dark woods. I mean, they're not staying at the local 7-Eleven. So, could they be? Yeah, I guess. I mean, with going back to the Bigfoot for a second here, I mean, how many reports out there are there of there's a flash of light and there's a Bigfoot, then there's another flash of light, there is no Bigfoot. So what's that all about? And that intrigues me, the flash of light. What's the flash of light? Is that a portal opening and closing? That's just up in the air. I mean, there's no proof that it is, and there's no proof that it isn't. So, you know, you keep an open mind and just, you know, demand the evidence, I guess is what boils down to.
Where are these things mainly being seen?
Chicago, the Chicago area, general Chicago area, up along the lakes.
Gotcha. So it hasn't spread over to like Texas or anything like that.
Well, there have been sightings back in the day, but I mean, the one that are more recent are all in Chicago. But another thing that you got to remember is that these animals, these birds, back in prehistoric times, they were that big and heavy. They couldn't take off from the ground. They had to be high. They had to jump off a cliff to get airborne. So, you know, or something high anyway, a tree or whatever. They just weighed too much to move fast enough to gain any type of aerodynamics to lift themselves off the ground. There are so many people involved researching this, it's crazy. Just crazy.
All right, moving on. We got more questions coming in for you.
Okay.
But I'm gonna just continue with these reports. What's the difference between these flying humanoids and Mothman then?
Well, there's not a lot of difference. Mothman was seen on the ground. He was seen chasing people. He was seen sitting on top of buildings and stuff like that. His description is pretty much always been the same, with the glowing red eyes, the whole 9 yards, size, and basically what he looked like. Where with these, they're close, but they're different. And I know that sounds dumb, but some are bigger in wingspan, some are shorter. Some have a longer neck, some have a shorter neck. Some have a tail, some don't. So there's, some have what they say is smooth feathers, and then there's others that say no, they have skin like a bat. There are no feathers. So, it's just different. And our boy down in West Virginia, he's pretty much always looked the same, especially the head. And these all have a lot of these reports. They see beaks, they see protrusions from the head, where the Mothman was, kind of really goofy looking.
Weird. So with these creatures that are different from the Mothman, are they projecting any type of omen or anything that we suspect happens with Mothman?
No, not really. They're always seen. I mean, they've been seen by police officers on top of buildings, which would lend credence to the idea that they need to be high to fly. Mothman has been seen on the ground, chasing cars at, street level. I think there's a big difference between those two. And Mothman seems to go away for a while and then all of a sudden show up and then go away again, where these things are constant. There's reports of these. I don't know how many there are now. Last time I looked, I think there were 70-some reports.
Interesting. So do you think these creatures are human, or are they of some sort of monster type ability? What do you think they are, in your opinion?
Oh, well, there's nothing has been described as human. Now, the flying humanoids are different than the flying creatures that they're reporting in Chicago, where the humanoids actually show a human appearance, like a man with wings, and there's only a few reports like that. So, kind of like a Batman looking thing, but I'll tell you what, they got some of the best researchers I know of out there looking at this, and it's just crazy. And people they're not shy about telling you what they saw either. They'll find you, or they'll contact lead investigators out in that area and tell them what they saw.
All right, Butch, I'm going to get you to hold on right there, because when we come back, we're going to get into gnomes, we're going to get into satyrs, and whatever else comes. I'm on board here on Spaced Out Radio. Butch Witkowski's Strange Days happens near the end of every month, where we bring in Mr. Witkowski from UFOcop.com. If you want to check him on out or send him a report, let's find out about any gnome sightings. Coming up next on Spaced Out Radio.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Hey everybody, the SOR Space Travelers is open. For just $5 a month, you can hang out with Dave and our crew privately in our members-only section. With your signing, you'll receive newsletters on what's going on with Spaced Out Radio. You'll have direct contact with the host during the show in our chat, live streaming videos, and a great forum for your posts and more. Become a space traveler now at spacedoutradio.com.
At spacedoutradio.com, we are keeping you up to date on all the news with the SOR Newswire. Captain Shirk leads the team that is bringing you the news of the day and exclusive stories on everything paranormal and supernatural. It's free to read, it's updated daily, and it's right there for you. The SOR Newswire is a one-stop shop for the news of the day. Check it out at spacedoutradio.com today.
We're taking Sunday nights out of this world on Spaced Out Radio. This is Michael W. Hall, also known as the Paranormal Lawyer. Together, we're going to go on an exciting journey into the unknown. I'm going to bring you some of the best interviews in the paranormal and supernatural to start your new week off on a freaky note. So tune in to Spaced Out Sundays with me, Michael W. Hall, only on spacedoutradio.com.
Are you looking for great advertising value for your company? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. We have a multitude of places to get your name out there, including commercial ads during the show, special promotions, and banners on our website. Our audience is proven to support the companies that support our show. We can make your budget work for you. So for more information, please contact us at sales@spacedoutradio.com.
Hey, space travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
You wanted new SOR gear, and now you can have it. The SOR Vault is fully stocked with t-shirts, hats, hoodies, mugs, and everything in between, with great logos for you to choose from. So head on over to spacedoutradio.com, click on the SOR Vault, and go shopping. Pricing is quite affordable, and you can look good representing your favorite show. So go to our website and pick up your new SOR wear at the SOR Vault today.
If you like it hot, real hot, then heat up your meals with Bumblefoot hot sauce.
Get your Bumblefoot hot sauce today. The sauce, Bumblicious, and the 4 million Scoville unit Bumble. We're going in hot, real hot, coming out even hotter.
Keep the milk nearby and tantalize your taste buds tonight.
Bumblefoot hot sauce, available now at kajans.com.
Hello, space travelers. It's me again, Carl. Don't forget to join the Space Travelers Club for just $5 a month and follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Our Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come woo it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye!
From the heartlands of Canada to beards around the world, we know how to take care of you. Fill your follicles with the Mighty Moose Beard Oil. All our oils and balms are handmade and 100% natural ingredients because we care about your beard. And hey, use the promo code SOR2019 and get your Mighty Moose Beard Oil today. You can check us out on our website, mightymoosebeard.com.
Need that weekend supernatural fix? Look no further than Spaced Out Saturday right here at spacedoutradio.com. I'm Stacey Edwards.
And I'm John Edwards. Each Saturday night, Stacey and I are going to bring you the best in paranormal, cryptids, UFOs, you name it, and we're going there.
It's all about the experience and to share the knowledge with all of you.
So tune us in every Saturday night on Spaced Out Saturdays, starting at 9:06 p.m. Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com.
We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckard, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/spacedoutradio. And while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
Cold drinks, great food, and the best music in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is the place to be, open until 2 a.m. nightly. Everything on the menu starts at just $6.95. Who serves food that cheap anymore? At the Moose, you'll never know who you'll run into. Rock stars, actors, athletes. It's the place everyone wants to be. So join us at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
We pass the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Great to have each and every one of you with us tonight. Thank you so much. I want to remind you that if you missed portions of this show or others, make sure you check out our free archives at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire, which we really appreciate. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio for the show. My personal handle at Dave Scott SOR. We got Butch Witkowski back here tonight for Strange Days. It happens the final week of every month as Butch from UFOcop.com comes on in to talk about everything strange, weird, and, you know, we're just going to throw some questions at him because that's what we like to do here. And Butch, guess what? He likes to answer them. Butch, welcome back to the show.
Yes, sir. Let's go. I'm ready.
Ad Gnome wants to know if you've had any gnome reports lately.
No. No, I've never had one. No.
Oh, good. He's just trying to stir it up because he thinks I fear the gnomes, let alone he forgets every day, literally every day, that I am one with the gnomes now. I no longer fear the gnomes. Julie is asking, is Mothman a gargoyle?
He's been described as a gargoyle many times, yes.
Interesting. I would have never thought that. Renee is asking, Butch, have you ever ran into a black-eyed kid? She says, I know personally they are scary.
No, I haven't. A fellow researcher and his team ran into one out in the four corners of the U.S., and it was not good. They actually were driving on a desert road on indigenous property, heading to the reservation when they saw a young person walking through the desert, and then slowed down and pulled over to give her a ride because, you know, it was in the middle of the desert. And when she walked up to the car, of course, it was a black-eyed kid, and two of the people in the backseat got violently ill, and the driver just took off. And they went a few miles at a very high rate of speed, got to a place where they could pull off and collect themselves and check on the two guys in the back seat. And there she was standing on the other side of the road. I don't want that type of experience. There's never been anything good said about black-eyed kids, ever. It's always very morbid. And pretty much everybody says if they wanted to, they could probably just do you in and be done with it.
All right, let's move on. Gnome Squatch is asking, what purpose or agenda do you think, Butch, these cryptids have here on this planet?
Wow, that's a good question. I mean, tell you the truth, I don't even know how to answer that. I mean, why would they be here? And then again, you'd have to think about that a second and go like, well, why wouldn't they be here? I mean, everything else is here. There's new things, new creatures, animals found every day. We've not even touched the oceans. There's places on the planet that no person has ever stepped foot on. New discoveries are being made every day. So, I mean, I don't even know how to answer. I don't know what purpose they would have. There was a gentleman years back that said the purpose of different beings being on our planet was the fact that his whole theory was that wherever they came from, there was either a war or destruction of a planet, or they ran out of food or whatever, and they just moved on to us. But that's just saying something without any proof that ever happened. Then you have stories of where a mine collapsed and there were some guys caught down at the bottom of it, and there was no way they were going to be able to get them out because how deep they were, and the guys were running out of air. Now, I don't know if it was hallucinations or whatever, but they said that tall reptilian-type beings came to their rescue and led them to another shaft where they could be dug out from that shaft, which was actually the other side of the mine, which they didn't even know existed. And that's the story they told the rescuers, and that story stuck.
All right. Renee wants to know if you've ever had any strange reports about the satyr, a Greek mythological creature known as Celanos, male nature and spirit. It's got horns like a ram, feet like a ram, plays that pan flute. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I never had any reports like that. No.
Oh, come on.
I would probably file that in mythical.
You totally would. You totally would. All right, moving on here. Let's go over to Andrew in the UK, who is asking Butch, have you had many reports or have you seen the Jersey Devil?
I've never seen it. There are a lot of reports on the Jersey Devil, and they go way back to pretty much the turn of the century. Didn't really become popular until the late 40s, early 50s. Descriptions always remain the same, a hoof-like creature with a goat-type head, and et cetera, et cetera. Only seen in the New Jersey Pine Barrens, never seen outside that area. So I think the last report that I read of a sighting was maybe 5 or 6 years ago, where a gentleman was actually a bird watcher. He was going out to look for birds that he studies, and it ran through the woods in front of him, and he left. But that was the last report that I remember reading. But no, it's as popular as Mothman in New
So what
Jersey.
exactly is a Jersey Devil for those of us who do not know?
It's kind of hard to describe. It's got hoofs and legs like a goat. It's got the head of a goat. It's got horns, long snout. From the waist up, kind of human looking. Some depict wings instead of arms. Short wings, and that's about the best description I can give of it.
Interesting. Where do these live in the forest? Do they live in the city, in the sewage systems?
No, Pine Barrens is an area of New Jersey that it's just they call it the Pine Barrens, but it's just a huge forest of pines. I think it's a state park. It is maintained. It's not very large like something we'd have here in Pennsylvania, but it's always been seen in the Pine Barrens. Every report comes out of the Pine Barrens. A matter of fact, there years ago, I don't know if they're still up, but somebody posted "Beware" signs, of the or creature, and with a picture of it. And so, I don't know if it's folklore or if there's something really out there. Just don't know.
All right. Let's move on to Josh's question, who is asking, what's the last paranormal investigation you went on? What happened?
The last what?
Paranormal investigation.
Last paranormal investigation I went on. Well, that didn't work out too well. I never did any of that paranormal investigation stuff, and a local group, been around for a long time. They're incorporated. It's a family affair and pretty well known. And I got to know them and asked them if they'd mind if I'd come along to just see how they operate and what type of equipment they use. Just being nosy. And I promised not to get in anybody's way, and they told me I was more than welcome, so I went. And we went to a area near Alberta, Pennsylvania, which it used to be a big iron foundry that made stuff for the Civil War, cannonballs, that kind of stuff. And it was turned into a museum, very well kept, very nice, very, very well kept place, a lot of history to it. And there were a lot of battles, Indians in the far field and mountaintop that's located on that property. And it was, I guess one of the things that these folks use is they'll take a flashlight and they'll put a flashlight down and they'll say to whatever the spirit they're trying to conjure up, could you turn the light off or can you turn the light on? And it was just a little mini mag light, and it was going on and off, answering the questions. And I thought, well, this is nuts because, if you just turn that thing a little bit, any vibration, because they're standing awful close to it, could set that light off. So I got my flashlight off my belt, and I said, let's use my light. Now mine is a Streamlight LED where you got to push a button to turn it on, push the button again to make it brighter, push a button again to make it flash, and then push the button again to get it off. So I'm thinking, okay. So I turned it off. I put it there, and the guy asked a question. I think the question was something like, were you killed in this battle with the such and such tribe? And if so, turn the light on. And the light went on. And I'm going like, that's impossible, right? So I went over, picked up the light. It was still off. The switch was off. So that was my first encounter. So they invited me to a second encounter, which was a house that was just moved into by a couple. And I couldn't explain the light to begin with. But anyway, went to that location. That was in Pottsville, Pennsylvania. And the people had just moved in. It was right after Christmas. So the house was pretty much furnished, but you can see there was a lot of stuff that needed to be unpacked. And there was over in the corner, there were a whole bunch of toys. And there was this little tyke. He might have been 5 years old. He comes over. He's holding this box with a doll in it. And he said, Mommy, who's this? And she said, well, that's yours, but we'll open that up after we get things put away and, get your toys all straightened out. And he went, okay. So he took it and he put it on a chair. Now, the chair is in the middle of a room, kind of like a rocking chair, older rocking chair. And the team, we walked through the house and they told me what was going on. They had strange things, lights going on and off, strange noises in the house, like people walking around, this, that, and whatever. So I was delegated to sit with the sister. The family left and the sister stayed, and her and I were at the kitchen table, and they had all the monitors set up so we could watch, because in every room they had infrared cameras set up. So I could see where everybody was, what they were doing, everything was right in front of me. So we're sitting there, and one of the things that was a problem was a light going off in the master bedroom. And it was one of these lights where you had to push a button to turn it on, and then you would push a button to make it brighter, and then push a button to turn it off. And the woman looks at me, and she goes like, man, I wish that damn light would go on. And just like that, the light went on. Now, the two team members were right outside that room, so I got him on the radio, and I said, hey, the light just went on. So he went in, they took some pictures, and then got back out where he was, and he said, okay, let us know if it happens again. So she said, well, probably won't happen again. And just like that, the light went on. And he said, well, now we got a problem. And I said, what's the problem? He said, I unplugged that light.
Ooh.
I went, okay. So he got the camera and he showed me that it was unplugged.
No kidding.
So we're sitting there, and she's telling me all the weird stuff that's going on in this house, like the one daughter who's was a teenager, 13, 14 years old, that somebody tried to strangle her in her room one night, and she screamed, and her dad came in, and that was the end of it. And so we're sitting back in the kitchen. There's a group down in the basement. There's people in every room, and I can see every one of them on the monitor. And music starts playing, and I looked at her. And I said, "What the hell's that?" And she said, "The doll." Now, from where I was sitting to the doorway where the doll was in that room, 3 steps maximum. So I go over and I look, and the doll's all lit up, and the music stops, and in a real deep man's voice, it says, "I see you." At that point, this kid was trying to make a book for the door to hit the street, and the girl who was with me, a big girl, had me by the belt and said, "You ain't going nowhere without me." And I'm thinking, lady, there ain't no way I could drag you out that door, right? So I got on the radio, and I guess I was kind of excited, and I told them what happened, and I said, I hope somebody got that on a recorder. And so they all came down into the kitchen, and they played it back, and there it was. But what this thing said was, there was a little heart on the doll, and you'd push the heart, and the doll would light up, and then it would say silly things like, "Can you play with me? What's your name? Will you be my friend?" Blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. Nowhere in that conversation does it says, "I see you," in a man's voice. So they put the tape up, and they played the tape, and you can hear the music start. You can hear the girl say to me, "What the hell is that?" I'm going like, "What is that?" And she said, "That's the doll." And I, got on the radio and called them and told them. But now when it plays back in that silly little girl's voice, it says, "I see you."
Oh, nice. Isn't that nice? That always makes you feel warm and cozy.
Oh, yeah, especially because the doll was encased in one of those plastic boxes that, you need an axe and a chainsaw to get into.
Yes.
And it was never opened. And at the bottom, across the bottom, it says batteries not included.
Oh, nice. Even better. Even better.
So when the folks came back, it was very early in the morning when they got back, and we told them what had happened, and the husband just picked up the doll, walked outside, put it in the trash, and set it on fire.
Sounds logical.
Mm-hmm. So now, about every 6 months, they send me that tape. They're not going to let me forget. They're not going to let me forget it.
Oh no! Why would they? Why would they? All right, let's move on here, Butch. I got a question from Joey in the SOR Space Travelers Club on our website, asking, do your indigenous associates ever describe to you witches taking form of other than were animals such as bear, owl, desert fox, or crow?
They can take any form they want. They could be a tree, they could be a bush, they could be an eagle, they could be a snake, they could be a frog, they could be anything they want to be. They can walk up to you at your camp as a camper and, how you doing, what's going on, and, and then just move on. You'll never know the difference. And and every indigenous I talked to about that said the same thing. You'll never know.
That's the scary part of it all. Is you never know what's being morphed.
Exactly. And, we had one group of researchers that was, one of their things was they would take the Boy Scouts out every summer for a 3-night thing. And the lady, her husband was up with the boys at the one end of the camp, and she had the younger boys at the other end of the camp. And she went in to retire, and she's getting into her sleeping bag, and she hears footsteps out back. of the tent, and then she says, "Who's there?" And next thing you know, they're in front of the tent. And she thought it was her husband, so she starts calling his name. Well, he ain't answering. And then the tent starts to unzip the door, and she starts screaming like a crazy woman, and her husband runs down. He says, "Well, what's going on, blah, blah, blah." And she tells him what happened. He's looking around. There ain't nobody there. And next thing out of nowhere, the caretaker comes up and said, "What's the problem? What's going on?" She tells him. And he said, "Okay." He said, "I'll look into it. I'll keep an eye on it." And off he walks. So the next morning, they're talking to the gentleman that actually runs that campground. And she said, the guy says, "Hey, look," he said, "I talked to your caretaker about it and told him what happened." He looked at him. He said, "What caretaker? We don't have a caretaker."
Even better. Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
Isn't that nice?
That means pack up the tent, hit the car.
Yes. 3 minutes to go here before we go to break at the top of the hour. Butch Witkowski's Strange Days going on Spaced Out Radio. Spookles is asking, have you ever had any reports of hobbits?
No. No, wait. Well, I don't know if you'd call a hobbit. There were some reports about 5 years ago, Colorado, I believe, where some photographs were taken of small humanoid-looking creatures in some grass, tall grass, but nobody that's even looked at them can say they're real or not. But when you said hobbit, that's what it reminded me of, those pictures. There's only 2 pictures, but they looked like a hobbit, small, that featured-wise, and I don't even know what happened with that report. I mean, I don't even know who the researchers were, but I remember that report. And but now, when you mention hobbit, that's kind of what they look like.
That would freak me out. Hobbits, gnomes. When you see something that small running around that you've only seen in ceramics before, Butch, it's just not cool.
Yeah. Now, Scotland, they have some really good pictures of stuff like that. And those pictures are not debunked.
Which reminds me, I need to send you a photo.
Okay.
Before I release it to the public, I need you to see it. Just in case. It's from an investigation we did. Mike Morin, myself, and my buddy Mark, we did an investigation just in January at someone's house here in town. And they've been having a lot of weird stuff. And they sent me a photo. I'm not going to say I will because I'm on the air. But to me, it looks like there may be 2 little people or gnomes in this photo.
Okay.
And I need you to do your magic that you do with your photographs in order to check that out. I love it when I get the weird pictures like that, man. I do. I love it. All right. Butch, I'm going to get you to hold on right there. We are going to go to break here at the top of the hour. We have Butch Witkowski's Strange Days continuing for another 30 minutes here on Spaced Out Radio. Butch's website, UFOcop.com. And we got more questions from the audience. A few more than what we're used to with Butch, but that's okay. That's what makes it very, very fun. So we're going to ask those questions to Butch next, as well as we have the SOR Newswire and the Thought of the Dave coming on up. A jam-packed hour number 3 of Spaced Out Radio.
Hi there, this is the paranormal lawyer Michael W. Hall. I'd like to invite you to listen in each Sunday night where we're going to open up your eyes to everything strange and paranormal. I will be hosting some great guests with topics that affect us all, such as UFOs, ghosts, and everything paranormal. Let's learn together on Spaced Out Radio Sunday with myself, Michael W. Hall, the paranormal lawyer at spacedoutradio.com.
Hello, space travelers. It's me again, Carl. Don't Don't forget to join the Space Travelers Club for just $5 a month and follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Our Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come woo it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye!
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world, relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio, and while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
Hey, space travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Hello everyone, this is Ryan Stacy from the Experiencer Support Association, otherwise known as TESSA. We're glad to team up with Spaced Out Radio to help investigate your experiences on the SOR Sightlines Report. Together, we'll investigate the strange sightings and occurrences you've had. We're looking for answers just like you. So fill out a Sightlines Report on the Spaced Out Radio website and let's figure out what's going on together.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
We are scouring the world for the most intriguing stories of your day. Take the time to read up on the SOR Newswire, where our team, led by Captain Shirk, will deliver to you some of the best paranormal and supernatural news, along with some stories that will blow your mind from the weird to the wacky. It's the news outside the news that piques interest, and that's what we're looking to deliver to you. The SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
For the price of 1 cup of coffee a month, you can become an SOR Space Traveler. The Space Travelers Club is a place where you can interact with other listeners, either live during the show or on our great forum. We want your stories, pictures, comments, and ideas. You'll get live video streams, exclusive content, and be a part of our newsletter. Stay in touch with everything SOR. The Space Travelers Club is just $5 a month at spacedoutradio.com.
The SOR Vault is open for business, and do we have some cool swag for you to pick up? All you have to do is head over to our website and click on the SOR Vault. You have a variety of cool logos to choose from, and put them on anything you want. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, coffee mugs, you name it, we can get it to you. So do your shopping by supporting the store you love. Get your Spaced Out Radio swag at the SOR Vault today.
Looking for creative ways to get your company out in the public? How about advertising on Spaced Out Radio? Our sales department is waiting to hear from you, and we can work around any budget. From commercial spots to banners to special promotions, there are many opportunities to get your name and product out to our SOR listeners. For a price guide and more information, please contact us at sales@spacedoutradio.com.
Hey everyone, I'm John Edwards.
And I'm Stacey Edwards. Together we're taking over Saturday nights on Spaced Out Radio, where we're going to bring our own experiences of the paranormal and talk to the best people we can find to help bring you answers to your strange tales.
We're here to entertain your need for weekend woo! So tune us in at spacedoutradio.com starting at 9:06 Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, where we can all get a little spooky together.
Spaced Out Saturday nights right here at spacedoutradio.com.
I'm feeling a little spicy tonight. What to do? What to do?
Why not get bumblefuck?
4 million Scoville units of pure hard rock. Bumblefoot hot sauces come in 3 flavors. The burning bumble. Tone it down a bit with Bumblicious and throw the sauce on everything.
Spice it up. Bumble me, baby. Bumblefoot hot sauce. Get it today at kajans.com.
The party is always on at the Moose Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is where you want to be when visiting Canada's West Coast. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose cranks up the rock while serving some of the best rated food in the city. The menu starts at $6.95. Why party anywhere else in Vancouver when the Moose is right there? Get your horns up and rock with the Moose, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Kicking off hour number 3 of Spaced Out Radio tonight, I am your host, Dave Scott. Thank you so much for hanging on in with us. Hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates across North America and on the digital side on TalkStream Live and Revolution Radio. Remember, you could check out all of our archives at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Bellamnoid. Bellamnoid is your password. Use it wisely, space travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire and so much more. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio for the show and my personal handle at Dave Scott SOR. For the final time tonight, we introduce Butch Witkowski and Strange Days. It happens near the end of each and every month, and Butch's website is UFOcop.com. Before we bring Butch back in, I want to say a special hello to a good friend of mine, Samantha, who's listening in near Vancouver Island, British Columbia. Hello, Samantha. How are you? Hope you're having a good night listening on in. Butch, we got more questions from the audience for you.
Okay.
All right. Rock and roll. Here we go. Let's get to Justin's right off the bat. He says, Butch, have you had any reports of cloaked beings like Predator? Heard a few stories recently and actually pointed one out on a YouTuber's Bigfoot investigation.
Yeah, there's been a few of those recently. Trying to think where the last one was. There was one in Palm Beach, Florida, toward the Everglade area. I'm not too familiar with that area, but it was around the Everglades somewhere. I think it was Palm Beach, where a gentleman just saw distortion in a field, and didn't pay much attention to it, but he said it started taking shape. And when it was all done, he said it kind of reminded him of a large ape. Now, was that a skunk ape or Bigfoot? Who knows? But he said, and just that quick, it did the same thing in reverse and it was gone.
That's strange.
Mm-hmm.
That is very strange.
All right, let's move on. Big Cat is asking, what's the name of that weird cryptid dog thing in the southern states that's apparently killing all the pigs and not paranormal? Is that the chupacabra? Is that the one?
Yeah. Yes, chupacabra. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Any reports on chupacabras recently?
No, not recently. No, and a lot of the reports that came on chupacabra are really like in South Texas, way South Texas, and southern New Mexico, and of course Puerto Rico.
All right. On Twitter, Greco is asking, Butch, do you have any reports of ghosts, entities, poltergeists that use phones or technology to communicate?
No, I don't. Mm-mm. Although, and I'm not really up on spirit boxes and stuff, but I know there are some types of equipment out there that can do that. I don't really have a whole lot of knowledge about those. Some of them are, homemade, and some of them you can buy. But those stories, they've been around for a long time, where there was communication of some sort.
Have you ever been in a center or a house or someplace that actually has poltergeist activity?
Yeah, one. It was actually started out as a UFO report, and since it was very close to my old home, I drove down that evening and met with the husband and wife, and it was the weirdest place I've ever been in my life. I mean, it was, you walked inside and nothing felt right. Nothing. It just didn't feel right. And a quick look around, there were pictures of of crosses everywhere, crucifixes, holy pictures, pictures of torture, devils in all forms on ashtrays and things. They were antique collectors, so all the furniture was antique, but everything had to do with the dark side, I believe you want to call it. And they proceeded to tell me that, they were having issues at the house, although he had a really good picture of a triangle, and that didn't even come up. So he started telling me about some of the things that were happening in the house, and it just bad stuff. And they didn't even use the upstairs anymore. They had moved everything downstairs. They basically lived on one floor. He was born and raised in that house. Nothing like that ever happened before. They would not go down into the basement. And me, like a dumbass, I said, well, I'd like to go upstairs. He said, good, have at it. I said, well, you going to go with me? He went like, nope. So I went up the steps, and he said, I better come up. I said, okay. So we went up and into one room, and I noticed all the closet doors were nailed and screwed shut. I said, is there a reason why these doors were all nailed and screwed shut? He said, yeah, you don't want to know what's in there. And I went like, yeah, I do. And he said, no, you don't. I said, all right. So I'm not going to argue with the guy. It's his house. So he said, well, do you want to go up in the attic? And I went like, sure, let's go up in the attic. So walking halfway up the attic, and I just got this really bad feeling. Never had that feeling but one other time in my life, and that was in Gettysburg. And got to the top of the steps, and I shouldn't have been there. And over in one corner, there's a casket, and there's a whole bunch of jars with dirt in, and there's a circle on the floor of looked like powder to me. And I turned around and asked him what the dirt was for, and he said, oh, we take those off of graves, new graves. And I'm going like, why would you do that? And he said, well, we're collectors. We collect this stuff. And okay. And I said, what's with the casket? He said, oh, yeah. He said, we buy that stuff when funeral homes go out of business. He said, they're just collectibles. He said, we take them up to New York. People buy them like crazy. I'm going like, okay. So we're standing there, and I looked down at the powdered circle again, and it wasn't there. It was on the other side of the room. Now, I'm 10 foot away from this thing. I never saw anything move. And the dirt, I kept staring at the dirt, and I kept looking at this, and I'm going, no, man, let's go downstairs. I said, so have you, what do you buy? And he says, well, we buy all kind of stuff. He said, mostly satanic stuff. And I'm going like, okay, so you're into that, right? And he said, well, I'm into Kabbalah. He said, my wife is a Satanist. I'm like, uh-huh. I said, so did you buy anything that you brought into the house when this all started? Well, yeah, kind of. And I said, well, what was that? And he said, well, I'll go out in the car. We keep it out in the trunk of the car. I'll go get it. I went like, here we go. I said, do you mind if I start taking pictures of this stuff? He said, no. So I was taking a picture of the Inquisition. And he walks in, he puts this mask on the table in the kitchen. And it's a Haitian death mask, and it's carved wood, and it's covered in human skin.
Ew.
And it's got horns, and it's painted, like Beelzebub. And the side of that, he's got a chalice with a bunch of a really ornate gold-plated chalice with chains hanging off it and chickens hanging off the chains. And I said, what's with the chalice? And he said, well, that would be used at rituals to drink blood from. I'm like, uh-huh. I said, so before this stuff came into the house, you had no issues? He went, not like we do now. And I said, wouldn't you want to get this stuff out of the house? He said, well, that's why we keep it out in the trunk. I said, I don't think that's far enough. And so we were talking a little bit, and I wanted to get out of there so bad. If I had to, I would have went right through the window. And so he sent me a picture, and I'm going to compare it to yours when I'm off the air, and I'll send it to you too. He was in the kitchen, he was being watched. Now, his parents live right across the street. And his son and his wife were over at his parents. And he was in the kitchen. He was going to make himself a sandwich, and he thought like somebody was watching him. Now, they had these little folding gates at both doors that go into the kitchen, only to keep the little guy out. And when I say little guy, this kid was maybe 3 years old. And he said, I turned around, and there were two whatever standing at the gate. And I said, what's two whatever? He said, well, I tried to take a picture of them, but they didn't take. And I said, okay. He said, so I went into the back room and I got a dressing mirror and put the mirror up against the counter, and I could see them in the mirror. So I took a picture of the mirror, and there they are. And I went like, yeah, they sure are. I don't know what they are. I have no idea. Like I said, I'll share it with you. Not long after that, he was committed. He went bonkers. I don't know what happened with the wife and the kid, and the house is empty.
All right. Let's move on here. Gnome Squatch wants to know, Butch, what is your most credible report you've had to date?
Most credible? I guess the bipedal reports are the most credible. Because a lot of them are multi-witness, describing the same thing. People were armed when they had these encounters. They all said the same thing, like, if I pull this trigger, things are going to get real bad real fast. They all described the creature exactly the same, no different. They all describe like telepathically being told don't do it when they reach for a weapon or they hold a weapon. They're extremely fast. They move from one area to another in a blink of an eye. I think they are the most credible of all the reports, only because, again, multi-witness, and again, they're all alike.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
How is the search for the bipedal canine?
Yeah, nobody describes them as, well, they kind of look brown. No, they all described as dark brown or dark black. They all describe, the glowing yellow eyes. They all describe the head, the ears, the arms, the waist, the chest, the legs, the hock legs, the hands. I mean, everybody describes exactly the same thing. And in the first, I guess, maybe 15 reports, I never put a description of that creature out there.
Have you had any reports recently since we talked last?
Yes, yeah, we have one. Like I said, we can't go anywhere. We can't do anything. State police here will write you up in a heartbeat. So we're just waiting. We're ready. Right now, we are focusing on some caves in a certain area where we had our first 2 or 3 sightings. We found a series of caves, so we're going to check those out.
Interesting.
Has to be hiding somewhere.
Well, you'd think it would be. You would think it would be, but is this creature becoming more brazen, do you think? Or is it just being noticed? Like, there's a big difference between the two.
No, there's a big, I guess the best way to answer questions regarding bipedal is, they are what they are. I mean, the mannerisms are the same. Everything about them is the same. There's nothing different. The telepathic communication is the same. They don't lunge at people. They'll just walk out on you, or they'll be standing there watching you. The one that really always kind of chilled me when the guy gave me the report was he was hunting birds in a state park, and it's kind of a swamp area, and he was just walking on the trail by the swamp, and there's a mountain laurel which grows really thick, and he felt like he was being watched, and a lot of people describe that. And he turned around, he didn't see anything. Now the mountain laurel was growing up a small hill, and he couldn't see anything at the bottom because the mountain laurel was really thick. And then he looked up at the top, and from the shoulders up, he could see the creature. And he was holding a 12-gauge Magnum. And first thing in his mind was, if it moves, I'm shooting it. And then he said, just like that, it was just something came to my head. Don't pull that trigger. Just get out of here as fast as you can, or things are going to get really bad really quick. And he said he backed out all the way to his truck, never turned his back on it, and it just kept staring at him the whole time he walked out until he got in his truck and drove off.
Interesting. Interesting. So, and I know we've talked about that in the past, where this creature seems to have a real issue with people staring it down. How come we haven't had anybody get attacked yet?
Well, like I said, the only two, I wouldn't call them attacks, but they were a show of force, I guess you could say, was the guy hunting in the tree stand. It got below him and just kept staring up at him and growling, and the group, 6 people that went for a walk and stepped out on him, and it really didn't do anything. And it froze basically, and then the lady lost it, man. She started screaming like a banshee, and that's when it started growling at them and started stepping toward them, and they just turned around and ran. So that's the only 2 instances where aggression was shown. Now, historically, there are some stories and reports of attacks, but just they weren't really attacks on humans. They were attacks on cattle, sheep, that kind of stuff. Nothing human. I don't know of any death or anything concerned.
In the past, when you've tried to research the history of this creature, was there any sort of malicious intent from it?
No. Mm-mm. Not toward human.
Are you surprised by that?
Yeah, I am. Because this thing, just the way it's built, I mean, you're not going to outrun it. Evidently, if you shoot it, you're not going to hurt it. It's pretty much telling you that. Reports where it's crossed a road and leaped over an 8-foot wall with one bound, or it crosses a highway with 2 steps. I mean, it's got power. The park ranger and his buddy that were checking out a location on the park that was being built, it was behind them. They saw it, and they started heading back to their truck. And he said, we didn't run, but we kind of stepped up our pace. And he said, until we got back to our truck, it was standing up on the hill looking down at us. He said, and I never heard it pass us.
This creature, which seems to just come in and out of its locations, I got to ask you, we have broken down the bipedal canine every time you're on the show, and because there's always something new and something different about it.
Yeah.
What is this creature, the way it's built, the way it's muscular, the way it's toned, the way it seems very angry and protective of its own space? When humans try to maybe get into its area, does this creature back off, or does it get a little bit more sparky and angry at that point?
No, it doesn't back off. It shows no fear. I mean, you got guys there holding, pretty powerful weapons that could stop pretty much anything at that point, but it shows no fear whatsoever. It doesn't back off. You're not going to go boo and it's going to back up. No, it just stands there and stares you down. And everybody, and that's the part that makes me crazy. Everybody has that same feeling, whether they're armed or not. I need to get out of here, or it's going to be really bad. I'm not going to survive this. And so how many people have we had with weapons? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys with weapons that could, pretty much drop anything in the woods they wanted to. And it didn't faze him in the least. It just stares at you. And the telepathic thing is the thing that bothers me, because everybody kind of said the same thing. You don't want to do that, or you want to get out of here, or I just had this urge, something telling me to leave now, that kind of stuff. And, when I brought that up to the indigenous tribes that I've been working with out in Oklahoma, they said the same thing. They said, if it wants to take you out, it will take you out. You won't even know it was going to happen. Which tends to lead them to believe that it may be a protector, a watcher over a battlefield or an Indian grave or whatever. But it just seems like when we did research of that Lichen Loop with all the Indians that lived there, I mean, this was Indian town down central. I mean, there were tribes all over the place. And like I said before, they were all at war with each other. So there were a lot of battles, a lot of deaths. And now they said, it could be a watcher to make sure that the graves aren't desecrated or people aren't taking anything. So that's what I mentioned to him. I said, so if somebody would find something from a grave and take it, what would happen? He kind of chuckled and said, you don't want to know. I went okay.
I got you there, Butch. Hey, Butch, I hate to say this, but it's time we wrap things up for the night, my friend. It's been a fast one. Everybody can find you at uforcop.com. Butch, we will see you at the end of May, my friend.
All righty.
You have a good night, buddy. Hey, coming up next, we have the SOR Newswire and the Thought of the Day. Thanks, Butch Witkowski, for coming on. uforcop.com. We'll be right back.
We're adding to the entertainment online for Spaced Out Radio. I'm Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and check out Cryptid Tales, where I will take you on a journey into some of the strangest legends and lore from around the world. relaying the stories to you of the strange creatures and experiences that people have had throughout time. You can find Cryptid Tales at youtube.com/spacedoutradio. And while you're there, don't forget to check out our free archives and leave a comment. See you there.
Hello, space travelers. It's me again, Carl. Don't forget to join the Space Travelers Club for just $5 a month and follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Our Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come woo it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye!
If you like it hot, real hot, then heat up your meals with Bumblefoot hot sauce.
Get your Bumblefoot hot sauce today. The sauce, Bumblicious, and the 4 million Scoville unit Bumble. We're going in hot, real hot, coming out even hotter.
Keep the milk nearby and tantalize your taste buds tonight.
Bumblefoot hot sauce, available now at kajans.com.
Cold drinks, great food, and the best music in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is the place to be, open until 2 a.m. nightly. Everything on the menu starts at just $6.95. Who serves food that cheap anymore? At the Moose, you'll never know who you'll run into. Rock stars, actors, athletes. It's the place everyone wants to be. So join us at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
Hey, Spaced Out Radio fans! It's John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. Our goal is to make the life of veterans, first responders, and those with rare medical conditions 10% happier. We do this by donating one grant item, ranging from vans to therapy programs to prosthetic limbs, to those who need it most. To contribute to Spaced Out Radio's official charity, head over to chivecharities.org and become a donor today.
Are you looking for great advertising value for your company? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. We have a multitude of places to get your name out there, including commercial ads during the show, special promotions, and banners on our website. Our audience is proven to support the companies that support our show. We can make your budget work for you. So for more information, please contact us at sales@spacedoutradio.com.
Hi there, this is the paranormal lawyer Michael W. Hall. I'd like to invite you to listen in each Sunday night where we're going to open up your eyes to everything strange and paranormal. I will be hosting some great guests with topics that affect us all, such as UFOs, ghosts, and everything paranormal. Let's learn together on Spaced Out Radio Sunday with myself, Michael W. Hall, the paranormal lawyer at spacedoutradio.com.
At spacedoutradio.com, we are keeping you up to date on all the news with the SOR Newswire. Captain Shirk leads the team that is bringing you the news of the day and exclusive stories on everything paranormal and supernatural. It's free to read, it's updated daily, and it's right there for you. The SOR Newswire is a one-stop shop for the news of the day. Check it out at spacedoutradio.com today.
Hey everybody, the SOR Space Travelers is open. For just $5 a month, you can hang out with Dave and our crew privately in our members-only section. With your signing, you'll receive newsletters on what's going on with Spaced Out Radio. You'll have direct contact with the host during the show in our chat, live streaming videos, and a great forum for your posts and more. Become a space traveler now at spacedoutradio.com.
Need that weekend supernatural fix? Look no further than Spaced Out Saturday right here at spacedoutradio.com. I'm Stacey Edwards.
And I'm John Edwards. Each Saturday night, Stacey and I are going to bring you the best in paranormal, cryptids, UFOs, you name it, and we're going there.
It's all about the experience and to share the knowledge with all of you.
So tune us in every Saturday night on Spaced Out Saturdays, starting at 9:06 p.m. Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
You wanted new SOR gear, and now you can have it. The SOR Vault is fully stocked with t-shirts, hats, hoodies, mugs, and everything in between, with great logos for you to choose from. So head on over to spacedoutradio.com, click on the SOR Vault, and go shopping. Pricing is quite affordable, and you can look good representing your favorite show. So go to our website and pick up your new SOR wear at the SOR Vault today.
We've rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Thank you so much for choosing to spend your evening with us. I want to remind all of you that if you missed most of this show or others, you can check out our free archives at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire, much more. Remember to follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio for the show. My personal handle at Dave Scott SOR. Speaking of the news, it's that time. Let's get to it. The news is always changing, which is why we bring you the SOR Newswire at the back end of every show, where we get to the weird, the wacky, and the sometimes ufological. You probably heard the news by now, but there was some big stuff happening in the UFO world. The Pentagon says it can explain 3 previously leaked videos of supposed UFOs, and the explanation is simple. They're real, and they're still a total mystery. Well, of course they're going to say that. The U.S. government declassified 3 top-secret videos of unexplained aerial phenomena, confirming that the clips that first surfaced in 2017 are legitimate. That's not to say that the videos contain footage of real alien craft, but that the objects seen flying in the videos remain unidentified, according to the Pentagon. Unidentified flying objects. In other words, yes, UFOs. The U.S. Navy is officially releasing the footage to clear up any misconceptions by the public on whether or not the footage that has been circulating was real, or whether or not there are more to the videos. Pentagon spokesperson Susan Goff said, after a thorough review, the department has determined that the authorized release of these unclassified videos does not reveal any sensitive capabilities or systems, and does not impinge on any subsequent investigations of military airspace incursions by unidentified aerial phenomena. The announcement is more of a vindication for Sweet Tommy D and his To the Stars Academy, who somehow were able to release these videos back in 2017. The U.S. Navy didn't acknowledge the videos when they surfaced later that year, though a spokesperson for the Navy eventually confirmed that they were real in 2019. This is all about frequent incursions into our training ranges by UAP, said Joe Gradisher, spokesperson for the Deputy Chief of Naval Operations for Information Warfare. Yeah, he says, those incursions present a safety hazard to the safe flight of our aviators and security of our operations. Gradisher said at the point at the time, that transparency around the sightings was important so that pilots won't feel ashamed to report something that could be dangerous. Yeah, DeLong, this is what I found. He goes, the Pentagon just officially released my videos. Just saying. He did that on Twitter today. Hey, Tom, those aren't your videos. Okay? I'm going to editorialize here for a second. Those aren't your videos. Why is your logo on them? They belong to the United States Navy and the Department of the Defense. They aren't the To the Stars Academy videos. I actually tweeted that to Tom. I didn't get a response. So I don't expect to get one. But yes, this is very good, and it's kind of interesting, the timing of it all. Why now? Why in the middle of a pandemic would the Navy declassify these videos? Lots of questions. You know the mainstream isn't going to ask them because they don't want to cover this subject. So we're still in the dark with a lot of these topics. 3 men digging for treasure near Petty Harbor spotted the light of a pirate ship on the horizon, but it was no regular pirate ship. It was a ghost ship. 2 of the men sprinted from their trench as they saw a dory unloaded from the ship and began rowing towards them. The 2 later returned to find the 3rd man dead and the hole filled in. They later disappeared from their homes, never to be seen again. That's just one of the tales Karen Murray Bergquist has collected and entered on an interactive map of ghost stories across the island of Newfoundland. The story ranges in complexity. Some are mysterious lights at sea, while others are apparitions visiting people on shore when their loved ones drown. There's one in Placentia Bay. I believe, she says, it's just a full-on schooner seen with sails ablaze. That's a full-on ghost ship. Other ones are more ambiguous, she says, a graduate student in Memorial University's folklore department. One of the features is a boat full of oarsmen, all of them naked and on fire. Another says a pirate dory visits an island in the Strait of Belle Isle every year on June 25th. In the late 18th century, a pair of men tried to find what was buried on that island, and both were killed, one by a phantom slap. Murray Bergquist says that she got the idea to map out all the stories so she could find from the survey cards in the folklore department archive after seeing a similar interactive map on the Icelandic sagas. The idea came mainly because I thought it would be a useful tool for me, she says. I thought, well, if I find it useful, chances are someone else will find it useful as well. The university has been largely closed since the COVID-19 pandemic hit Newfoundland and Labrador, but once it reopens, Murray Bergquist has some work to do. There's sort of a growing to-do list. When all of this is over, I have a nice long research list to start ticking away at it. You know what? We're going to try and get her on the show. I definitely want to do this story. So we're going to try and track her down and see if she'll come on. Now, this is a story that's going to upset me, okay, because 22 years as a journalist, I've always put 2 spaces after a period. Now, Microsoft has made a typographical decree that 2 spaces between sentences is 1 too many. Why? It was perfectly good. A nice little pregnant pause in between. We're able to get things done from sentence to sentence. Hell, people can't even put a period in anymore on social media. They don't know how to use punctuation, and we're worried about 2 spaces now. We're going down to 1. Son of a gun. The style choice will be now marked as an error in Microsoft Word, those dirty sons of guns, and users who press the spacebar twice after a period will be met with those dreaded blue squiggly lines. The change, first noticed by University of Denver law professor Alan Chen and reported by tech outlet The Verge, is rolling out gradually across Word, so users may not notice it until their software updates. The habit of using 2 spaces is a relic from the era of typewriters, when typists spaced twice to more clearly define the end of a sentence. Characters were monospaced back then, which means they took up the same amount of space on the page. Today, most fonts adjust with the width of the characters so sentences are easier to read. Very few style guides advise using 2 sentences or 2 spaces after a period. Yeah. The APA, Chicago Manual Style AP, and the U.S. Government Printing Office Style Manual all recommend a single space between sentences. The contemporary benefits of using it are few, aside from waking up more space on the page. If you absolutely cannot part with your beloved double space, like I can't, here's what you could do. When Word marks it an error, right-click to view your options. You can ask Word to ignore the issue when it comes up again, or view every grammatical issue. The software will mark and remove spacing from the errors list. You know, Bill Gates, first you want to inoculate us with everything, okay? You want to make sure that we all take your vaccinations. Now you're getting rid of a space in between. You are pure evil, Bill Gates. Pure evil. Police in Connecticut have abandoned a plan to use a specifically designed drone as an effort to tackle coronavirus pandemic. The deployment would have seen the Westport Police Department use the drone to spot potential violations of social distancing measures and even detect possible symptoms of COVID-19. But the plan has been ditched after a number of residents expressed privacy concerns about the idea, with some gathering to protest outside the police department. Built by Canadian Fur Dragonfly, the advanced quadcopter features special sensors and computer vision technology that enable it to identify the heart and respiratory rate of an individual, as well as their temperature from as far as 190 feet away or 58 meters. It can also detect if someone coughs or sneezes in a crowd, and with its live video feed can pick out anyone failing to observe social distancing rules designed to reduce the spread of the virus. The system doesn't collect individualized data, nor does it deploy facial recognition technology, though this evidently wasn't enough to allay residents' concerns. Good, boot it. We don't need it. As Bumblefoot sings here every night, little brother is watching. Don't you think? Moving on. In cities, human lockdowns continue for the coronavirus pandemic, but it's been fantastic for the rest of the animals and mammals on this planet. Yes. Clear skies, return of wildlife to the waterways. Now evidence of a drop in underwater noise pollution has led experts to predict the crisis may be also good news for whales and other sea mammals. Researchers examining real-time underwater sound signals from seabed observatories run by Ocean Networks Canada near the port of Vancouver found a significant drop in low-frequency sound associated with ships. David Barclay, assistant professor for oceanography at Dalhousie University, the lead author of the paper reviewing the phenomena, examined sound power, a way to measure loudness in the 100 hertz range from two sites, one inland and one farther offshore. He found a significant drop in noise from both. He says, generally, we know underwater noise at this frequency has effects on marine mammals. There's been a consistent drop in noise since January 1st, which has amounted to a change of 4 or 5 decibels in the period up to April 1st. Economic data from the port shows a drop of around 20% in exports and imports over that same period. The deep ocean site around 60 kilometers from the shipping lanes and in about 3,000 meters of water also showed a drop in average weekly noise of 1.5 decibels, or around 15% decrease in power. This gives us an idea that the scale over which this reduction in noise can be observed. Okay. The reduction in ship traffic in the ocean, which Barclay compared to a giant human experiment, has had scientists racing to find out the effect on marine life. We are facing a moment of truth, said Michel Fournet, a marine acoustician, a marine sound person at Cornell University. What the hell is that word? Acoustician? Acoustation? I'm not even trying it. I hate it when people come up with words that drives me nuts. Sound person from Cornell University who studies humpback whales in southeast Alaska. We have an opportunity to listen, and that opportunity to listen will not appear again in our lifetime. Wonderful. I love it. And I hate her position, only because I can't pronounce it. Acoustician? Is that it? I don't know. A cutting-edge implant has allowed a man to feel and move his hand again after spinal cord surgery left him partially paralyzed. It's the first time both motor function and sense of touch have been restored using a brain-computer interface, as described in a paper published in the journal Cell. After severing his spinal cord a decade ago, Ian Burkhart had a BCI developed by researchers, a private non-profit specializing in medical technician, implanted into his brain in 2014. The injury completely disconnected the electrical signals going from Burkhart's brain to his hands, through the spinal cord, but the researchers figured they could skip the spinal cord to hook up Burkhart's primary motor cortex to his hands through relay. A port in the back of his skull sends signals to a computer. Special software decodes the signals and splits them between signals corresponding to motion and touch, respectively. Both of these signals are then sent out to a sleeve of electrodes around Burkhart's forearm. But making sense of these signals is very difficult. We're separating thoughts that are occurring almost simultaneously and are relating to the movements and perceptual touch, which is a big challenge, says lead researcher Patel Patrick Ganser. The team saw some early success regarding movement, though. The initial goal of the BCI, allowing Burkhart to press buttons along the neck of a Guitar Hero controller. But returning touch to his hand was a much more daunting task. By using a simple vibration device or wearable haptic system, Burkhart was able to tell if he was touching an object or not without seeing it. It's definitely strange, Burkhart says. It's still not normal, but it's definitely much better than not having any sensory information going back to my body. That's awesome. All right, we got time for one more here. Then we got to get to the thought of the day. Firefighters in Britain came to the rescue of an unlucky donkey that decided to step into a kettle and ended up getting the object stuck on its hoof. North Yorkshire Fire Services in Whitby responded to help Daniel the donkey free its hoof from the kettle. Our crew from Whitby rescued a donkey called Daniel who got his hoof stuck in a kettle, crews said on their social media Twitter account. Crews used pliers to release Daniel's hoof and left him with his owner. A fire services representative said Daniel was not injured and was able to trot on over to rejoin his fellow donkeys. Isn't that nice? Thought of the Day happens every night at this time, where we ask a question on our Facebook and Twitter pages, then read your responses on the air. You know why? Well, we love the audience participation around here. Today's Thought of the Day is as follows. What is the funniest or most embarrassing thing you've experienced on an investigation? Goddess Michelle. My best friend literally pooped his pants when he conjured up a dead man with me. The guy was one in a photo that he had come across in one of his antique shops. Canadian Joe, do you mean probing, Dave? You might want to ask Whitley. Anthony, otherwise known as Tattoo Man around here. Someone walking straight into a tree, pretty much knocking themselves out, not paying attention. That's actually kind of funny. Shanna, I didn't go looking for them. They used to just show up until I learned to tune them out. Alcatraz Juan, you're stealing questions for reruns from the dating game, aren't you, Dave? No, because I didn't use the word blank. Classy and Sassy, Amnesia, wait, tell me, was there an investigation ever? William, plain and simple, farting. Or, once in an abandoned nursing school, lots of cockroaches, one darted at us, me and another grown man running away. That was good. All right, moving on. Here we go. Nick, this happened to some associates, if that counts. Science Bob was trying to tackle a reptilian at the same time. Sweet Stevie was trying to use a bullwhip to take out the green skin lanes. You're talking about your art that you drew again, my friend. You're talking about your art. Robin, I was on an investigation that spooked in Seattle. There is this room where a girl has been known to play music. and a music box on this doll in a certain room. It started playing, and we had ping pong balls. I ended up saying, "Did you get your balls?" My friend and I started to laugh after that, of course. Tina, it's got to be when I farted. Oh, what's with all the gas jokes? Nicole, back in my Bigfoot tracking years, a friend and I hiked about 2 miles to an area that had been a hot spot. It was night. We had our sight set. Anyway, as the night progressed, we heard some knocks and footfalls, and so we set out. She says, to follow. I tripped into a hole, fell flat on my face. I laughed so hard, I peed my pants. Did not have a change of clothes. Gave up chasing the Bigfoot shortly after. Aaron, gas for sure. I get paragas when I investigate quite a bit, and when it's super quiet, they just squeak on out. It's not embarrassing when it's just me and my team because those girls know me, but when we have people we don't know come with us, well, that's a little embarrassing. Yeah, I would think so. Brandy, someone captured a passing of gas EVP that sounded like a dog whining, but then someone had to confess. Oh my goodness. Richard, working in an old empty house, my brother, a medium, and myself. The medium was communicating with the spirit of a young boy who had died back in the 1940s. The medium was tired and wanted to take a break. We got up from the floor where we were sitting to go outside for some air. However, as my brother went to stand up, he fell over. Somehow his shoelaces became tied together. That is incredible. I would have loved to have seen that. Finally, from Kat. I was very gassy during an investigation. I apologized to my teammate Chris, who was next to me. The obvious ovulus that I was using then said, "Awkward. OMG." We laughed so hard we were crying, and it was all recorded too. All right. We're enough breaking wind stories here for tonight. We're going to say goodnight to all of you, and thank you for everybody participating in the Thought of the Day. We will do it all again tomorrow. And a big thanks to Captain Shirk for getting our news ready for the SOR Newswire. Yes, read it up on our website, spacedoutradio.com. And, of course, to Butch Witkowski from UFOcop.com, as Butch comes in at the final part of every month to take us on a little journey of strange days. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thaw rocking in the background with Little Brother Is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at home, in your cars, at work, wherever you may be. Thank you to everybody participating in our chat rooms on YouTube, Spreaker, the SOR Space Travelers Club on our website, Facebook, Revolution Radio, and LGAB. Cannot forget the snarkers and snarkettes on Twitter at #SpacedOutRadio. Your snark was impeccable tonight. Keep up the great work for the rest of the week. We'd love it here. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to spend your evening with us, because together, my friends, we own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Thank you so much for joining us. I had a lot of fun. I hope you did too. We get to do it all again tomorrow. Come join us, will you? The woo is just fine. Good night.